What's going on, guys? John Santos, and welcome to this live stream. For joining us on this very special stream. If you guys are watching this live, leave your comments in the chat below. Because as you know, this channel is focused. The From the Ground Up mission is to help you build your life and vision from the ground up, but we want to help you really push the limits of what you think is possible and then overcome those challenges through education tools and resources that we provide on this live stream as well as throughout our channel. And again, if you guys aren't in the know, this is a special live, so make sure you guys leave your questions in the chat. And we're also going to be queuing up questions that came up over the course of the last week since the last live stream went live. That way we can have a little bit better discussions and interactions with your guys' most in-depth questions. Now, I also want to give you guys a quick update. We do have an official website that we launched that we're going to talk a little bit more about later on in the segment, but it's available now at fromthegroundup.io. We're going to link it in the description down below for you guys to check out. It includes a free game plan as well as a 7-day blueprint to launch your brand. So if you guys are currently thinking about launching a business, this is the perfect setup and the perfect kit for you guys to go download. It's absolutely free. We're giving it to you guys as a gift for just being an amazing audience member and community member here at From the Ground Up. Now, I want to start this show, today's episode, live stream, with a very interesting story. This is a very good story that's a little close and dear to my heart, and it's the reason why I'm sharing it, because I typically am really not about, the drama and the gossip and what happened, who said what. But when it relates on a deep level like this, and when it affects somebody that's close to you, you really want to shine a light and hopefully help some of you guys who are potentially going through this, are gonna go through it, or have no idea what it is, and you'll be able to navigate it better in the future. I've done this for a couple of my friends in the past, and they've really appreciated it. So I want to bring it to you guys right here on this show. So pretty much how this story began, right? So Urban Necessities, it's a retail store that started in Las Vegas. It was, in Las Vegas, when you're living here in Vegas, especially in 2012 to 2014, there wasn't much happening within the culture in terms of entrepreneurship or streetwear or design. So when you have a product brand and you're looking to create a community, it's really hard to connect because there was really nothing going on. And that's when this visionary named Jay, we want to pull up that Instagram profile for Jay real quick so you guys can see who this guy is. Jay was the guy who started Urban Necessities, and he started this out of a mall, in a rundown mall on the rundown part of town off of Maryland, and I want to say it's Maryland and Sahara-ish, probably a little bit further to Flamingo in between those two streets. And he started it literally in the back of a mall. And it was just really rinky-dink location, but he built a culture from that, and he built a following. So we're showing him on screen right now so people can see him. Now, this is Jay today. So he pretty much built his following around sneakers, right? Around sneaker fashion. So when I heard about the store opening, I went over there, right? I went really quickly over to go see and be like, yo, I got these bags. So I know in the last story, I told you guys how I started my first backpack company. We'll always expand a little bit more on storytelling in these shows. And I brought my bags to him. I said, yo, I'd love for you to consign this. It would be great. Do you do consignment? Do you buy up front? He looked at it. He said, yo, I want to give you a shot. And he gave me my first break. Jay was the very first person to see the vision for what I was trying to do right there at 25 years old after a failed partnership and distribution deal, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a second. He was the guy that brought us in, let us display our products beautifully on his walls, and he even merchandised it, looked really dope, built up the hype for it, and allowed us to get through those hard moments of entrepreneurship when you're like, how do I find my market? Who's going to buy it? We were finally connected with the Jordan sneakers and all the hype brands right there in one location, and we were selling products to them, and they were paying us in cash, right? So Jay is one of those guys that honestly, he's a guy that's really about his community and about his people. So when I heard this story, it really broke my heart because I've been following his journey since 2014. Take it, it's about 11 years ago. So the one thing you need to know about Jay is that he completely revolutionized the industry when it came to sneaker consignment, sneaker selling, and reselling. And again, he started in 2014. The hype really, and I want to say the bubble was around COVID, or a little bit after COVID, and he really rode that wave. He was the guy that revolutionized and put it on the map. So we're talking about you want to share that article right now with the he even got into they even had a partnership with American Eagle, right? So right now we're playing that for you guys to see. It was a legit business, and he literally built it from the ground up out of the trunk of his car. He was broke at the time, and he started flipping sneakers, and he put all his money into this little location, which grew into an incredible movement. So much so that the American Eagle Outfitters CEO said, yo, I want to invest into this. Let's open up multiple retail locations. They opened up a spot in New York City where they were selling $50,000 shoes next to everyday American Eagle products. And then they even opened up massive retailers on the Strip. And then they even expanded recently into overseas, into the UAE. So we're going to play a little bit about, so you guys can really get the sense of what Urban Necessity is. And Urban Necessity is essentially one of those businesses that started with an incredible story. The story is Jay. Jay is the brand. Jay is Urban Necessities. And seeing his rise, you know, a lot of people started hating on that. I always just appreciated the grind, because I knew what he was going through, and I knew what he was doing, and he was putting it out all on the line. So to me, he's always been one of those visionary guys that you just follow and that you see like, yo, respect to those moves, right? And then after like 2022, I started noticing that like he wasn't as involved in the business. So I just felt like something was happening behind the scenes that, you know, wasn't really bringing that to light. So that's pretty much what I want to cover on right now, guys. I want you guys watching right now to let me know, you know, in the comments down below, if you've heard about Urban Necessities. If you have, leave a comment down there. I just want to see how far this brand has reached, and how, you know, how it's impacted you, or potentially somebody that you know that resold to them. So this story, you know, it was literally a fairy tale story. It started from nothing to millions, tens of millions of dollars in revenue, to like featured articles on Forbes, to documentaries on HBO. Like, you're talking about this guy, incredible, and he still is. He's still an incredible guy. But the brand itself had that cult-like following. It's one of the most incredible stories of our time. So where am I going from this? Well, this whole episode was about business partnerships, right? And whether you select the right one or the wrong one can be the difference between success and failure. And for Jay, we're not bashing any decision that he's made, because he also has a lot of personal things going on. He's got his wife and personal issues that he deals with, right? Like in terms of health and other things that he shared online. I'll let you guys poke around through his Instagram to learn more about what that means. But for me, I wanted to share this story because he got into a partnership in some way, or somehow somebody invested into the business that then took it south. And this person was the shoe surgeon. So if we pull up the shoe surgeon's profile, you would think that an iconic person like the shoe surgeon, who literally put sneaker customization on the game, partnering with a sneaker reseller, would be the perfect blend of the two worlds, right? Where two worlds meet. His creative ability, his marketing. I'm pretty sure the shoe surgeon might be a pretty legit operator. I don't personally know him, so if he wants to come on the pod and explain his side of the story, that'd be great. But essentially what happened is the shoe surgeon, from my understanding with everything I've been following, pretty much took the business from Jay, kicked them out, and then Jay was left with absolutely nothing, with zero, meaning he didn't get a buyout. He didn't actually get cashed out. There was no like payment on his end where he was able to like recoup anything. In fact, it went so low that, because of the fact, and this is where it's so important, guys, I want you guys to really listen right now. And we don't have those screens on screen no more, right? It's just me and you. And I really want to share this. I really want to drive this home, because he partnered with an understanding that this person was going to come in, invest in the company, help scale it, help grow it. And I'm sure there was operationally things that they did to do that. So there's no bashing that. I'm sure the shoe surgeon was a great operator. I guess probably not, because of what happened, was what I'm about to tell you guys. Not doing it to laugh or make fun of anybody, but I don't want you guys to take this at any point in that way. It just relates to me a lot. So Jay was essentially, built this brand, iconic UAE. He's the Urban Necessities, like literally the pinnacle of sneaker reselling. And then all of a sudden, he's nowhere up associated with the brand anymore. He recently came out and said that he was kicked out of the brand. He was pretty much fired as an employee, which meant that he no longer collected a check or any residuals, and his ownership stake was never bought out. This means that in the business, when you have shares, you typically have to get bought out in order for your shares to be removed and for somebody else to come on board. That's why you form a business and an entity. In Jay's example, he was pretty much kicked to the curb, and there was no buyout and there was nothing removing him from the entity. So he was literally stuck in a company that he couldn't run. And recently it came to light that a lot of the resellers weren't getting paid. So in consignment and in sneaker reselling, it was definitely an innovative thing of the time. But when the bubble burst, all the cards are collapsing, right? So sneaker reselling was very profitable because for a consignment shop, because they didn't have to carry any inventory on the books. They literally had to stock. They had to stock the actual inventory, like the Jordans and the classics. They would buy some to resell them and get their own profit. But for the most part, everyday people might have had a shoe in their closet and they're like, I don't wear it no more. Let me go and sell it. So that person, let's say I had a really cool sneaker that I wanted to sell. I'd bring it to Urban Necessities. I'd say, hey, I want 200 for it. Urban Necessities would do their markup, whether it was 10, 20%. They would then sell that shoe for 220. Give you the 200, and they'd take $20. It was a very high turn business, meaning like if they can get good sneakers in, they got foot traffic. And then once they got foot traffic, they could sell other products that they owned, whether it was merchandise, bags, or other products that they purchased to resell and flip. So it was a very innovative model of its time until the cards collapsed, meaning people weren't necessarily buying into the hype as much. Meaning like you couldn't buy a sneaker for 150 and flip it for 500 within months, right? That was happening at the peak of the sneaker reselling market. Today, Nike controls its inventory through the sneaker app. Consignment shops aren't necessarily in high demand. People aren't visiting stores as much. So foot traffic to those locations is lower. Nike controlling inventory also killed off supply, which pretty much brought a lot of these big players to a position of like, hey, how are you going to pay the bills? Like, you own retail locations. Retail locations have a lease, right? You pay per square footage. If you're in Caesars, if you're in Dubai, wherever you are, you're paying tens of thousands of dollars just to stay open a day. And with employee overhead and all these costs, they add up really quick. So Jay's out of the business. Shoe Surgeon comes in. According to the story, he drives the debts up high, and now Urban Necessity is on the brink of going into bankruptcy, which means that a lot of these consigners that product was sold are not going to get paid back, because that product that was sold, they pretty much just took the money and they didn't pay the sellers back. So in that example of me giving my shoe to them and expecting $200 while they made $20, I'm out of my shoe and I get no money. So that's the position that Urban Necessity is in, and Jay was very open and transparent about what happened. And the lesson here is that for him, it was honestly like he grew really quickly, and he needed people around him that knew more about the business to help scale it, right? And he also encountered certain issues with his own personal life, right? So he was at a point where he's like, you know what? Let's partner. Let's bring this to life. Let's scale it. Let's keep it going. And it didn't work out. All right. It didn't work out. And then what ended up happening is that he's left with the bill of sales tax and all these legal bills because it's still attached to his name. So they never bought him out, which means that he's still associated with the brand, with the business. And he's also liable for a lot of these decisions that a new operator came in and made. So he's kind of left holding the bag. And I'll let you guys visit his Instagram. I'd highly encourage that you check out that story. Just check out what he's doing. Support him. Support the cause. Because right now he's on a come up. And I reached out to him and I just let him know. We talked and I just said, hey, you got this, man. The community's with you. He wants to do right by everybody. He's going to sell his houses. He's going to sell anything he owns to pay the millions of dollars that are owned back, right? He didn't have to do that. He could have walked away. claimed bankruptcy. The business could have claimed bankruptcy. He could have walked away and been whole, but he didn't. He decided to, you know what? I'm going to make it right. And that's the statement that he put out. So now it's into shoe surgeons and the current owners of Urban Necessities to make it right with him so he can make it right with everybody. But I share this, right? I share this story. I don't want to harp on the bad news here, but this is real news that you guys should be aware of, is that it happens a lot and it happens frequently in business. So when you're looking to partner with somebody, the key lesson here, and it's the lesson that I'll share with my story as well, very briefly, because I took a lot of time sharing this one. The key lesson is whoever you decide to partner with or think about partnering with, you should really enjoy being around. What does this mean? This should be somebody that you wouldn't mind having over or calling at 1 o'clock in the morning to solve a problem or to, just help out. If your car breaks on the side of the road, would that person potentially go and help you get the car or call AAA for you? Like, what is that person doing for you in a way where you guys get to enjoy each other's time because you guys respect one another? The second is to really vet their background. All right. Like, it doesn't matter how iconic or legit they may seem on paper or online. There could be certain business dealings that you could have sniffed out if you just asked some questions, right? Always asking about, hey, I heard you partnered with this person or worked with this person. How did that go? All right. And then getting their story and then following up and finding the other person's story. I can't tell you the amount of times that has saved me with just regular business dealings and over the course of entrepreneurship after I learned it. Vetting people is super important. Giving people a call and asking, what do you think about this person? If that other person is highly respects him and he's like, yo, he's legit. But if something happened, they'll give you their side of the story. At least you know what you're getting yourself into. And then you also want to challenge ideas that they bring to the table. Don't just agree to things that they have or concepts that they want to bring. You want to challenge those ideas. And then you want to see how they react to the challenge of you guys not finding agreement there. And how you guys handle those early disagreements will tell you a lot about how things may be handled when there's a high stress and high pressure, right? And then more importantly, it's always important to figure out like how you can collaborate organically and naturally before becoming something that's more official. What does that mean? What do I mean by that? It means finding a way to like work together without working officially on paper or legally. Whether that means, hey, let's collaborate on this project, let's do a joint venture marketing, let's do this promotion, this hype, whatever it is, find ways to work unofficially where it still benefits both of you guys. But you can see how you collaborate, how you work, how you guys talk to one another, how you guys interact. And then you could feel better about moving forward with a partnership. Because a business partnership is a lot like a marriage. You're tied in until you get divorced or one of you guys die. That's what a business partnership is. So a lot of times people just rush into it without thinking about it in that way. So once everything is set and you guys are like, you know what, I like this person, good person, reputation is there, how they handle business, how they handle their team, how they talk to people. I like it. I want to do business with this guy. You got to legalize it. You got to get the right paperwork. That paperwork needs to be vetted with an attorney, whether it's ChatGPT to give you like a working draft so you guys can like figure out exactly what the deal points are, and then take it to an attorney to finalize it, meaning what are going to be the buyout terms? What happens if there's, disputes? What happens if one of you guys dies, somebody gets divorced? Like, all of these are real questions that you need to answer legally on paper and have everyone sign off on it. It also is going to protect you in case something happens in terms of legally. It's on paper that like, hey, when I, exercise my right to leave, like they have X amount of days to buy, or I can sell my shares to somebody else, right? Those are also options that you could put into that paperwork. So I don't want to play Monday night quarterback. I'm not or what is it called? It's called armchair quarterback. I'm not that kind of guy. And there's no hypotheticals. He could have done everything right and it's still not right. So it doesn't necessarily matter what this person did or what this person said. The reality is, at the end of the day, it falls on your decision as an entrepreneur who you're going to decide to partner with. And as I mentioned, guys, this story holds true to me and it holds close to me because it happened to me. It happened to me early on when we were having a pretty nice growth trajectory. And I've never shared this story before. So I've never been on paper sharing this. And part of it was because I just felt like I I didn't feel like sharing it because it wasn't going to help me. It's not like I'm asking for help. But I also didn't feel like sharing it because, nobody likes to talk about their losses. But because Jay opened the door for us right after this event happened, and because what happened to Jay, I've seen, I think it's time that I share what happened with me. And I feel like this is, yeah. All right. I'll share it with you guys. So there's two things that led to this event. The first was that in 2014, I was 24 years old. I put all my chips on the table in terms of this brand that we started called Revive. And we worked for 6 months to close a distribution agreement that was supposed to be the biggest thing of my life, right? So this was in early 2015. So it started like 2014, 2015-ish. And we were literally like preparing. I put all the rest of the remainder of the money that I had from the sales we generated, from everything we'd done organically, word of mouth in schools, like literally out there hustling day and night to sell these bags anywhere that we could. I literally was like, hey, I found a distributor that is going to be the thing that helps us scale. So back in the day, retailers were a big thing, and you needed to have good retail distribution to make a majority of your sales. And when I learned about that, I was like, okay, I need to find a distributor. Finally found somebody. They were distributing Wiz Khalifa's brand as well as Monster DNA, which used to do Beats headphones. They were legit. On paper, they seemed incredible. And the guy over there, Tian, was a really good guy. I enjoyed Tian. I enjoyed being around him. He was a positive dude. He had his wife, his kids. I was like, yo, I like this guy. I would want to one day live his life. He seems to be like figuring things out. And he put together, like, he used to do manufacturing for a big headwear brand that collaborated with like almost any influencer you could think about in that era. Every rapper, every influencer, like incredible people. So on paper, everything looked legit. And we spent all of our resources and time to develop and launch this brand in collaboration with Wiz Khalifa, with Monster headphones. And all of this was done under the pretense that we were signing an agreement to pretty much license our brand, where we could still be the designers and marketers of that brand, but they would take on the manufacturing cost as well as the distribution into retail stores. So the retail stores at the time that they were in was PacSun, Zumiez, Tilly's, like all the stores that we wanted to be in, and all the stores that Herschel is just starting to get in. So for me, it was a joint. This was one of those things that was like, finally, after literally grinding for 6 years, we finally found a breakthrough. And then after that show happened, crickets. So we displayed it at the Magic Convention. We were running on fumes, and then we didn't hear anything. We got ghosted. And I was like, yo, this isn't like Tian to just not reply. We were texting through message leading up to it, emails, texting his team, calling his team. He has some really dope headquarters in San Diego, calling that. And they're like, hey, he's not in right now. So I thought maybe something happened with his health. So I was worried for him. And then I get a call like a month later, and he's just like, hey, John, I'm so sorry to do this to you, but our investors pulled out of the agreement, and I'm going under. This company isn't going to be in business anymore. I wish you the best of luck. That's literally all he told me. And he said, you guys are legit. Keep chasing it, man. Love being around you. And he just left me with those words in the debt. And then I was like, man, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to cry, be sad, or are you going to move forward? All right. We already had these designs. We already created these products. We had a couple hundred units of each style. So I was like, you know what? Let's go out and sell this thing. So we went out. We hit the streets. We got better results this time because the designs were actually legit. Things were actually legit products. We put our best foot forward, and it showed. We went to Urban Necessities, showed it to Jay. He said, yo, let's do this thing, right? That's where the story comes full circle. My loss was my opportunity to meet with Jay, which then brought the whole story full circle. So that happened, and then we were developing a new product. It was this basketball bag where you could put your basketball in it, match it to your Jordan sneakers, to your shoes. Obviously, we were in Urban Necessities. I was like, yo, this is a perfect fit, sneakers, basketball. We can also sell it to different teams and just players that like to play basketball. So we developed this bag, and then we had met somebody in that distribution agreement who was actually the owner of PSD Underwear. So we can pull that PSD Underwear clip. If you guys haven't heard, PSD Underwear is a pretty big brand in terms of social media. They do a lot of, they're on every models. And I think they did some stuff with Bronny James and big athletes. And at the time, they were really revolutionizing the space. They're like one of the only underwear companies that were printing and then creating this movement of pretty much like streetwear underwear that you can sag, right? It was called Pants Sagging Designs. And I remember meeting him at the trade show, and he was like, yo, like if this, like let's stay in touch. So after everything fell through, I decided, you know what? Let me hit up this guy and let me see what he's got going on. So I showed him the basketball bag. I sent him a pitch deck, and he said, yo, let's work on this, man. Basketball's my thing. I got underwear. Let's make it happen. And we worked. We went back and forth. We would visit him. We finally like consolidated what a design would look like, what the bag would be. We did a lot of research and development based on his feedback of him looking at the bag and then saying, hey, it needs to be better. We drive all the way over there for that type of news and just to kind of hang around. Because at the time I was like, how do I get to this level? Right? I see a level of success and I'm like, how is he doing it? I want to learn. I just want to be a fly on the wall. And that happened. And then about 6 months, a year, nothing really developing. We had some things on paper in terms of deliverables he had to do, deliverables we did, deliverables we submitted. Nothing was happening in terms of his end of fulfilling the promises that he gave us. And all he would say is like, hey, it's not ready yet. So we'd be like, what does that mean? All right. We got to the point where we were on Steve Harvey's Thunderdome, national ABC prime time placement in front of an audience that loves basketball. All right. And we said, hey, national TV, get us an athlete so we can collaborate and we can blow this thing up. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. He didn't deliver on that. And I said, dude, like you haven't been doing anything to build this. So there's no reason we should be a partner. And there's no reason we should even have this agreement. So like you haven't delivered on anything. It's time for us to walk away and exercise our right to walk away. And that's where the legal things get murky. And it's the reason why I don't place any blame on anybody that is in this position, because the legalities of it is what's going to wear you down. So in our situation, he said, fine, I'm going to sue you. And I said, all right, I'll see you in court. About a month later, he sends a bill for like $80,000. And he says, this is what you owe me. And I have an attorney now, so talk to him. And I said, this mother. I was so pissed at this guy at the time, man. Now I honestly don't care. But at the time I was so angry. I wanted to like pull up to one of his events and just, yeah, but you know what? I'm a Christian man, turned to God, and I figured out, he's going to get what he deserves. Everything will fall in place. It'll all be good. And that's what happened. So at that moment, I had to decide, okay, do I go and pursue, do I try to go fight legally, fight physically? Or do I just say, you know what, let's keep doing what we're doing and we'll see where the chips land. But I'll tell you something. Because of that event, I never fully realized that dream and that mission that I had at the time, because of the fact that we were operating as the same business entity. So at any time you could go and claim, hey, you guys owe me X million more. And we'd have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars fighting that bill, right? So it was always a lose-lose. And at that moment, COVID hit. When COVID hit, it was just one of those scenarios where like you have a potential looming legal issue and you also got, COVID, and you don't know when camps or business is going to open back up. So we had to walk away. It was one of the things that attributed to that decision, but this is the very first time I share it. And if Kurt is listening, man, I honestly don't have anything against you anymore. I think what he's doing and what he's proven out to do with PSD, he's the same guy. He's out there killing it. He's doing his thing, and that's all I can say. So when it comes to this, guys, the reason why I'm sharing this is because you never want to partner with somebody just for the sake of them bringing something that you're lacking. You never want to just partner with somebody to say, hey, I need this expertise. Be my partner. We can make it happen. That's the worst type of partnerships to get into. The only thing that you can do when it comes to partnerships is to vet them. And vet them, like I said, vet them with the list that I curated earlier in this live stream. If you're just joining, if you're watching this on the live stream, just, watch the replay or bring it back a couple minutes and you guys can catch up. But yeah, that's pretty much what happened to me. And it's now what's happening to Jay. It's happening to Jay at a 10 times level. We're talking about millions and millions of dollars that he's on the line for in a brand that is like iconic. I was just this kid from the East Side that had a vision, that we brought it to life, and we're selling on Amazon, and we're doing as best as we could with a bootstrap budget, right? So that doesn't mean I empathize. I'm trying to say I emphasize with him, or empathize. I have empathy. I understand. I have an understanding. And if you're going through something similarly, or if you're thinking about it, these are the questions you got to ask. So I want to take it out of that. I think I just spewed a lot of things to you guys, and I want to start queuing up some Q&A from the past videos that we had. We had a couple of messages that came in, and we're going to queue them up in just a second. If you guys are watching this on the live stream, though, leave your questions in the chat. We're going to be going through the chat. We're going to be answering them. Me and my team are going to be answering them. Well, my team is on the chat. So leave your questions there. You'll get instant answers. Drop your questions in the comment if you want to be potentially featured on an upcoming, live feature like this. And if you have a cool story, if you got a cause, and if you want to share it, head on over to fromthegroundup.io. Email submit@fromthegroundup.io. We're going to link it in the description. Send your question or request to there. We'd love to feature you guys. Just make sure you tag your Instagram as well as your website so we can verify that you're a legit person. We'll bring you virtually. We can literally bring you in here. We can have a conversation, make this interactive, make it fun, and really get to connect and have you connect with everybody else that's listening and watching. So yeah, let's queue up the first question. I want to bring up the first question from I want to say it's Jordan from Dallas, Texas. Okay, so in case that didn't come through, it said if you had to do your first business partnership all over again, what 3 specific things would you absolutely do differently? All right, so this one tied to the question to what we just did. I want to make sure that you guys just get re-emphasized. All right, if you had to do 3 things, what 3 specific things would you do differently? The very first is get to know who they are and how they live their life, right? So like how they live their life is an indicator of who they are in business. If you hang out with them one night and they're married, and then they're cheating on their spouse, chances are they're going to be cheating on you too. Just translates, all right? If you're hanging out and you see certain red flags that you don't like, chances are it's going to expand in business, all right? If they treat servers wrong, if they're yelling, they're angry, they're pissed off at life, it's going to translate, guys. So that's the very first thing, is know exactly who they are personally. The second is indefinitely vetting them, right? Vetting them in terms of who have they worked with, who have they helped, how do they collaborate before, are the people happy, are they not happy? Like, just know what you're getting yourself into. And then the third is definitely in having the right paperwork and counsel. Don't ever sign a document that's one-sided, meaning like don't just take their contract and sign it. You're going to want to get your own legal counsel if you're doing real business partnerships, right? So you want your lawyer to look at it. You want them to go back and forth until you have a way to easily break clean, right? And minimize your liabilities in that business if something were to happen. So those are the 3 things I would do before doing a business partnership all over again. And today we have so many opportunities to partner with so many different people that some people around me are always like, dude, why don't you just partner with that person? I'm like, yeah. Some people might say I'm scared. Some people might say like, yo, you got your feelings hurt before. Why don't you do it again? To me, I just say, hey, what can I do on my own until I identify exactly what I need? And then if I just come to meet the right person, God will put that person in your life in front of you. It'll be the right time. All right. Think about it a lot like a marriage. At least for 5 to 6 years, you guys should be really cool if you're going to be a business partner. You should have an exit within 5 to 6 years, right? A business partnership doesn't mean you got to be business partners for life. It could be a 5-year play where you're going to flip the business and sell it to somebody else. And if everybody's aligned with that vision, that's what you're ultimately looking for. You're looking to make sure that you can align with the person that you're partnering with. What are their goals? What is their vision for that partnership? And does your vision match? If it does, you're on the right track. All right. I got the next question from the man Miles from North Carolina, from Charlotte. I was there. I want to say I was in Charlotte about 2 years ago or a year ago. I was there visiting Printful, actually. They got their facilities out there. So if you guys are in Charlotte, it would be really cool. I'm going to reach out to Printful, see if they still do tours. I know they were doing some tours back in the day, but it's there. And I love Charlotte. Honestly, Charlotte reminds me a lot of California. I went when it wasn't hot. So it's summer right now. They say it's really hot in the summer, but I went in the fall, winter. So it was beautiful. Wow, that's a great question. Okay, so Miles asked, how do I know when to use AI tools for marketing versus hiring creatives who understands the culture? This is a really good question, guys. So my approach to AI is like a 2-pass. You're going to use AI if you're on a budget and you have absolutely no money to pay anybody, or you're going to use AI to streamline things that already work. So the first approach is that AI is a great tool to establish your ideas and concepts. This means that if you have a vision for a certain product, it might not be apparel. It might be like a hard good product, like a wallet, like a revolutionary 3D printed product, something that like is real true to your heart. Use AI to help bring that to life and to help market it and to help find suppliers for it. There's a lot of different tools. We've been doing a lot of different videos recently, and we're going to link some of them in the description down below for you guys to reference on how you can really maximize AI to make your products. And we recently just launched a video, or we're launching a video. When does it come out? It comes out on Friday. So that video is going to dive into it. We'll also link it here when it's live. So I say that AI is a great way to bring your ideas to life, but it's also a great tool to help scale things that already work. Meaning, if you already know the lifestyle of the brand, if you understand who your target customers is, then you can use AI to pretty much repurpose things that have worked before. Meaning, like if you took a certain picture with a certain model, like you can use that model and picture and have them transform it in AI with a new design, and then even bring it into a video or a more of a more creative ad that you could run on Meta. There's a lot of different ways to use AI. So whether you're starting it on a budget or whether you're looking to scale, it really is the tool. But that secret sauce, when do you hire a creative who understands the culture, right? That's the missing link. That's the missing connection, because somebody who understands what you're going for is going to see things from a different perspective and creatively will help establish your brand's direction. So this means the style of photos, the style of editing, the style of how you're going to put in your product photography, like from the visuals to the messaging, to the emails, to the website. All of that needs a creative input, because AI is still just somebody who's going to be like an assistant to that creative input. So you're going to come from, hey, I'm going to launch it with AI, prove it out, see if there's any demand, to, hey, I sold a couple things. Maybe I should try to work with somebody to help develop this brand and really take it to that next level. And then once it's working, hey, how do I use AI to help do more of that? I find AI works within that scope now. Before, AI was just a really cool tool to help you kind of bring ideas to life, and then you still needed a creative to help the AI work. But now AI has gotten a little bit more advanced and allows you to take some of the tasks that the creative would have after you've established a brand. So I actually have a video. We actually have a video for this. We're going to pull it up in the desktop right now so you guys can see it up on screen. And in a recent video, we actually dive into how to do this. But let's pull up the gorilla one. I want to show the gorilla one first. This is an example of something I just did in literally like 5 minutes, and I was just having fun with it. And I didn't really know what I know about it now, but I wanted you guys to see this.
Looking for a sign that 2025 is the year to launch your brand? This is it. Imagine what you can do with all that to you at From the Ground.
Check that out, guys. That's literally Play number 2. Play the second gorilla one too, just so you guys can see. This was all done with AI.
Because I'm a gorilla, I can't build $1 million business? Same. I started with zero proof too.
So you see that right there, guys. You guys are seeing literally what AI created in a matter of minutes. Like, I entered some prompts. I said, hey, I want to have zero proof on the shirt. I want the gorilla wearing a gold chain, holding this cup, smashing a banana in a retail store. I painted the scene, and that's what it outputted to me. So right now we're seeing a lot of these like funny videos with like, whether it's the Yeti or Sasquatch. You might be wondering and looking at it like, dude, how is that even branding, right? But it's going to get pretty intense. And so much so that there's also now ways to create a model with AI, a photo, and then make them into a video spokesperson. So let's show that photo that we created, Preston, before we brought it into AI. So in that same video that we're releasing, or that's already launched, just take a look at it. Forgot when it's launching, if it's launching tomorrow or Friday. If you guys are watching this, I'm going to link it in the description after the live stream. But in that video, we literally created a character, and that person is literally like an AI prompted person wearing our gear that we made for that video. And with that, we then took this image that's on screen right now, guys. Like, last year, you could only really make this image, and the image wouldn't look that good, but it looks photorealistic now. Like, this is a photo that we used on a banner. And then what we did is we went one step further. You know, images is one thing, and for images, AI images, you can kind of tell if they're real. But let's play the video of this guy now. But then I converted that photo.
In the grind, while they're out partying, you're in the lab, building, dreaming, sacrificing. No validation, no guarantees, just vision. This is for the ones creating with zero proof. A brand that speaks for those who hustle while the world sleeps.
Guys, I don't know about you, but that looks real. When I saw that, I was like, it took an AI generated image I made with a prompt on ChatGPT and has now made it into a video where the guy is moving his clothes, his hat, he's talking a script I created. That's literally a video ad. So when it comes to AI, it's going to change the game for a lot of people. A lot of people that are on a budget or looking to scale are now going to have the opportunity to start and an opportunity to grow at a lower cost. This also means, though, that for the world of influencer marketing and, you know, having a social media presence and following, it's going to be less about like requiring you to collaborate with influencers, like a big pool of them, and more about how creative can you get your AI actors and your content to look for people to engage with your profile. But ultimately, they'll still be, regardless of how AI starts to shape this over the next 6 months, we're going to see some massive changes. So if you guys aren't taking advantage of AI in your marketing, you need to, because in the next 6 months, we'll see a lot more brands, you know, using animals to market and to bring their message out there. We'll see a lot more people use AI influencing to help share a message or sell products. Like, brands are going to use it, putting on brands on their clothes. Like, you no longer need to do a video shoot or a photo shoot. You can literally plug in an AI model and it'll start bringing your ideas to life. But ultimately, the people that are going to be successful with it are going to be the people that have built a real community and following and a brand. Because if you just build something and you try to fake it, people can always sniff it out if you're not a true creative, right? This is where that bridge between creativity and AI is. The creatives that take this to the next level are going to be raking it in over the next few years until everybody catches on and realizes that it's all AI. And then people are going to want to shop with real people, right? So there's going to be this move and trend of growth with AI. And then eventually it's going to come back full circle and people want to connect with others. The connection that you have between somebody speaking to you on camera that's real, somebody that you meet in person, or you hear about their brand story in a retail store, or even shop for them online. Hearing that story really is everything. And people are able to tell if it's real or fake. So it's going to be a little bit harder to tell, but people are eventually going to know. Everything comes out on the internet. So with that being said, how do you know when to use AI tools for marketing? To prove out an idea or to scale something that already works? Let's bring up question number 3. I want to say it's from Jalen from Oakland. Jalen from Oakland. What's up? I still need to go visit Oakland. It's been a while.
bringing on an investor will actually help or just add more pressure without value?
Okay, so question 3 is the company is growing and growth comes with more expenses. The more people you hire, the more tools you subscribe to, the bigger the office space or resources. At times, it could strain cash flow. Cash flow is the amount of money that you have sitting in your account to pay for expenses and debt and liability, right? So how do you know if bringing on an investor will actually help you or just add more pressure without value? So the question is about bringing on investors. And when you're just getting started and proving something out, everybody wants to go towards an investor to help fund that dream. And if you got a rich uncle or parent, then great. That's awesome. Amazing. Maybe tap into it to help you get started. And there's no slamming or saying anything negative about that. If you have an uncle or rich uncle or rich dad to help you, that means they did something right in their life, right? So if they want to help you, they can. And I don't have anything against anybody that does it that way. But when it comes to getting investments from anybody, you really have to look at an investor is a little different. They're still considered a partner, depending on how much equity they are, how much stock or equity they own, they buy into, is how much say they have in the company. But regardless of how much equity they're buying into, you're also wanting to figure out, okay, what can they do for me? What doors might they be able to open? Because if they're investing and getting a certain stake in your company, you should be able to have new doors open because of who they are, especially if they're well off and if they're successful. It should be a partnership where hey, I'm going to leverage, he's going to buy into this, and for us to succeed, he's going to open up these doors. So that is the best form of raising investment and capital, is somebody who can open up doors for you into a market or opportunity that you would otherwise be really hard to do. But if you're just getting an investor for the sake of getting money and they're not necessarily bringing anything of real value like that, then you have to ask yourself, what skill sets are they bringing to the table? And do I like them as a person? Because potentially they might be sitting right next to me when I make every decision. And if you guys aren't aligned in that decision, then you're ultimately stuck with a partner that is going to drag you down. So again, it's always about what can the other person do for you and how can you work collaboratively towards a singular vision. So always filtering investors that way, always filtering partners that way, business opportunities that way will help you stay on track, and more importantly, not give you another hurdle to jump over. Because entrepreneurship is hard on its own, guys. It's difficult. It's tough. You're going to face a lot of challenges. There's going to be a lot of sleepless nights and a lot of sleepless mornings. Like you're going to have to wake up early, it's crazy. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody and it's not easy, but it's made harder by choosing the right partners. So I'll leave it off with the quote that the man Dave Ramsey recently said. He said that the only ship that won't sail is a partnership. And he said this because when it comes to partnerships, you're taking on all of their faults. If things are great when you partner, but then let's say they get divorced or they accumulate a lot of debt, or they accumulate a lot of issues that they are now bringing to the company. Like maybe some of their legal issues are going to transfer over to yours as well. Like there's a lot of these things that happen with a partnership, and that's the reason why partnerships are always the most likely to fail in business, unless you get the right partner. Because I've met a lot of, before 3 or 4 years ago, I would 100% say, nope, partnerships, never do them. But more recently, I found a lot of people that have gotten into the best amazing partnerships, and they've been doing it for 8-10 years, and they've been building this company side by side, and they know exactly what they want. So everybody knows exactly where they stand, and they're building it, and they're building it to the next billion, $10 billion, $15 billion business. But it's because they started off with the right foot. So as long as you start off with the right understanding and foundation, partnerships can succeed. But if you rush into it, it's like getting a shotgun marriage in Vegas. It's 50-50 shot. So are you willing to gamble? That's the ultimate question. And if you guys are watching this right now in the live stream, I really appreciate all of you guys that are in the chat. We've been answering the questions through the chat as the live has been going on. We're going to have this as a replay here on the channel, and then we're also going to link the new channel in the description down below. head on over there, subscribe to that channel, because that's where all of the podcasts are going to live in a few months. So if you guys enjoy this type of content, we just want to create an actual place for it. We want to make it a place where you can go to, or you know exactly to tune in on a weekly basis, get this information, submit your questions, hear from others in the community. So if you'd like to submit your questions or share your story, head on over to submit@fromthegroundup.io. And right now, I also want to pull up this new site in case you guys aren't aware. We launched a brand new website called fromthegroundup.io. And this is essentially going to be the community play. We have incredible, amazing ideas with this. We've already put a lot of them into play. But to begin with, we want to give you guys a free 7-day launch blueprint. This means that you can start with an idea and launch your business within 7 days. We have all of the steps that you need to do, as well as the resources to help you do it, and even included some Shopify themes that we help develop, a streetwear theme and a luxury theme. It's all within that download. So head on over to fromthegroundup.io. We're sharing it right now on screen, I believe. By entering your information on the website, it'll literally send it to your email, and we can start communicating and start building alongside you. For everybody that's there watching or thinking about submitting, also make sure you just follow the steps that we leave on the thank you pages, because we're going to be giving you, some of you guys who, for everybody that uses our Shopify affiliate link, we're going to be giving you guys special trainings and follow-ups to really help develop your brand at absolutely no cost. So make sure you take advantage of all that through the link in the description down below. Again, it's fromthegroundup.io. And see you guys on the next one. If you missed episode 1, we're going to link that one here. And also the latest video is going to be linked right here. So check that one out. See you then.